Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome in to Thankful Thursday. I haven't heard from many people lately about something they're thankful for, and it's something that we used to do quite a bit on Thankful Thursday. So let me ask you today to text me or email me something that you're thankful about on this Thankful Thursday. Email me, Joey at joeyhudson.com. You can leave me a message, too. I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to mypillow.com and take advantage of the latest and greatest deals that Mike Lindell has to offer. We'll get into more of that in just a moment. Glad to have you in. The gunman who killed one person and injured two others after opening fire on a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE facility from a nearby building before taking his own life has been identified. We have the latest of this breaking story from Dallas yesterday. 2 weeks after Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was assassinated, spokesman Andrew Kolvet revealed who had jurisdiction to monitor that rooftop where the alleged killer fired the fatal shot. We have this update for you, too. And nearly 8 in 10 voters say that the United States is in a political crisis after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We have the results from a Quinnipiac University poll released just yesterday. And according to the latest restaurant data, Cracker Barrel dropped from the fastest growing U.S. breakfast chain to last place as conservatives and Republican customers fled in the wake of its woke logo fiasco, even after it backtracked on its controversial moves. I guess it's a clear lesson of too little, too late.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson Bill, but they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson Bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
It was a chilling story out of Dallas yesterday, and one that underscores just how dangerous and toxic the rhetoric surrounding immigration has become in the country. Police have identified the man who opened fire on a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility yesterday as 29-year-old Joshua John. He climbed onto a nearby rooftop before daybreak, pulled out a rifle, and started firing indiscriminately at the ICE building and at a van in the port where detainees were being transferred. One person was killed, 2 others wounded. Jean then turned the weapon on himself. The FBI later released photos of the ammunition clips that he carried. They were engraved with anti-ICE messages. This seems to be a trend among these young shooters, engraving the ammunition clips. It's just crazy. You know that he probably got that from one of the previous shooters, maybe Charlie Kirk's accused shooter a couple weeks ago. This was a clear sign, though, that this wasn't random, that it was political. And it comes, again, just 2 months after another ambush on an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, where 16 people were charged in that attack. So this isn't isolated. As FBI Director Kash Patel put it, these despicable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. It has to end. And he's right, it does. It has to end. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton went further, blaming what he called the epidemic of leftist political violence, saying Democrats have fostered an environment that emboldens radicals to kill, steal, and destroy. Governor Greg Abbott echoed that message, vowing this would not slow our arrest, detention, and deportation of illegal immigrants. And Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem blasted the constant demonization of ICE agents by the left, saying when politicians compare ICE to the Nazi Gestapo or slave patrols, words have consequences. Of course, she's talking about Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's former running mate. We have more on him in just a minute. Vice President J.D. Vance also weighed in, warning that these, quote, obsessive attacks on ICE and other law enforcement officers need to stop before more lives are lost. So here's the takeaway. Again, was not just an attack on ICE. It was an attack on law and order itself. If we allow political violence to become normalized, whether it's against cops, Border Patrol agents, ICE, or conservative leaders like Charlie Kirk, then who's safe? Nobody's safe. Anyone could be a target. And the Democrats are adding fuel to the flame. I mean, once again, we're confronted with the tragic consequences of a reckless political attack caused by reckless political rhetoric. I mean, another sniper on top of a building, young man, he takes his own life. Could the words of, let's say, Gavin Newsom, for example, have had any effect on this man? Governor Newsom, a man many say has his eye on the presidency, went on Stephen Colbert's show to smear ICE agents as authoritarian thugs. That's what he called them. He even mocked them for wearing masks to protect their identities from doxing mobs. This is the same Gavin Newsom who brags about suing the Trump administration 41 times and then turns around and calls the president of the United States a SOB. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Then, as I mentioned a minute ago, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Yes, Kamala Harris's former running mate. At a law school commencement, he compared ICE to the Gestapo.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. This is what the crumbling of rule of law looks like in real time. And it's exactly what the founders of this nation feared. A tyrant abusing power to persecute scapegoats and enemies.
What an idiot. And to think, this man wanted to be a heartbeat away from the president. But you had others. Karen Bass, Los Angeles mayor, accused ICE of running a reign of terror, she said. She went after federal agents while her own city is drowning in crime, homelessness, and fentanyl deaths. And when ICE operations brought chaos to L.A., her complaint wasn't against the rioters. It was against the military presence that came in to restore order. Bass chose to demonize law enforcement rather than protect her own residents. The list goes on. Brandon Johnson in Chicago, Chicago's mayor. Meanwhile, he compared ICE to terrorists. Yes, terrorists. He even said said that America under Trump looks more like the CSA than the USA. This is the same Brandon Johnson who presides over a city where gangs run wild and families live in fear. But his focus, attacking ICE and Trump instead of fixing the bloodshed on his own streets of Chicago. John Larson. Let's not forget Representative John Larson of Connecticut. He outright called ICE Trump's personal secret police. He invoked Nazi Germany and the SS and the Gestapo, just like the governor did. He used these terms to describe officers simply doing their job. Then he played the victim when Trump pushed back as if the real problem was political pushback, not the radical smears endangering federal law enforcement. I mean, here's the bottom line. We've had a Democrat governor, 2 big city mayors, and a congressman. These aren't fringe activists, but they're leaders of their party. And they're comparing ICE agents to Nazis and terrorists. And now we've got blood on the ground in Dallas. You tell me. I mean, DHS is ringing the alarm bell. Rhetoric like this is fueling violence. It is encouraging people to take action against ICE. The same people who are trying to make our streets safer by getting illegals off of the street. But will the Democrats rein it in? I think you know the answer to that, don't you? Will they keep demonizing law enforcement? I think you know the answer to that as well. They have no conscience when it comes to this type of terror. Just think about Brandon Johnson in Chicago. If you'd rather have murders on the streets of your city than to have ICE and other federal agents sent there to help you clean up your city, there's something badly wrong with you. Folks, ICE agents are not Nazis. They aren't terrorists. They are Americans sworn to uphold the law. They're the thin line between order and chaos in a broken immigration system. So when the left calls them terrorists, it's not just irresponsible, it's just downright dangerous. Let's be honest, those summer vacations and backyard barbecues added some extra pounds, right? But instead of feeling guilty or falling further behind, it's time to reset, drop the weight, and get back in control. The solution isn't a shot. Real lasting weight loss starts with your mind, not your mouth. At PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team help you uncover the real reasons behind your weight gain so that you can reprogram the way you think about food forever. PhD clients lose up to a third of their body weight without ever taking a drug. I know because I lost 33 pounds with PhD weight loss. Through real food, behavioral coaching, and proven science, your body can become a natural fat-burning machine. Why risk spending thousands on shots that strip away muscle, come with dangerous side effects, and leave most people regaining 60% of the weight within a year? With PhD, you'll activate your body's natural appetite control, burn fat safely, and stay in control. Even if you're already on Ozempic, PhD can help you transition off while still losing weight. Take the first step today. Call 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com. Yesterday marked the 2-week anniversary of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk's assassination. Spokesman Andrew Kolvet revealed who has jurisdiction to monitor the rooftop where the alleged killer fired the fatal shot. This young man, 22 years old, is accused of shooting Kirk from the roof of the Losay Center at Utah Valley University on September the 10th, killing Kirk, the 31-year-old father of two. So many questions have been asked since then of why this young man was not spotted by Kirk's security team, who were literally just a few feet away, standing right behind and around Charlie Kirk as he was assassinated. On an episode of the Charlie Kirk Show yesterday, Kolvet said that Turning Point USA's security team does not and did not have the authority to police rooftops or surrounding areas during campus speaking events. Now, I've heard a lot of people ask this question. Well, why didn't security stop him? There's also this conspiracy theory out there that Kirk's security people even may have had something to do with it. You've seen all these little videos pop up of Kirk's, one of his mentors on the other side of him, taking his cap off and moving his cap like it's a football signal, calling in a play. You've also seen clips of Kirk's personal bodyguard, and if you've ever watched any of Charlie Kirk's videos, you see this same guy often standing beside or behind Charlie. He was one of his security details that Turning Point USA hired to protect Charlie. But folks, these guys, yes, they have a background in security, former law enforcement, former military, but they're still not like Secret Service. They still don't have the authority that Secret Service does. And I guess some people thought because Charlie had such a high profile that he had Secret Service protection just like the president does. Well, that's not the case. Nobody does outside of elected officials. Kolvet said, in defense of our security team, people need to understand that they do not have this jurisdiction. They only have jurisdiction on the campus is Charlie's physical around Charlie's physical proximity, and they were coordinating with the local police department and campus police to make sure all of those venues were secure. Blake Neff, producer of the Charlie Kirk Show, added that Turning Point USA did not have counter snipers or Secret Service to monitor the area outside of Kirk's immediate vicinity. He went on to say many campus PDs do not have drone programs, which is a big problem. I'm actually working on that because it's something they should all have. It should be mandated by some sort of law. But again, drones have become increasingly popular for law enforcement. They're a great tool, but they're expensive. They cost a lot of money, and you got to train someone to operate them. And so you had a campus event. Charlie Kirk had hundreds, if not thousands, of these type of events. And yes, I know things have ramped up. He was getting bigger and bigger crowds. But I don't know that anyone ever thought that Charlie Kirk would have been assassinated, that anyone thought that someone might crawl up on a building and take him out like the young man tried to take out President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. There's so many questions there that it's easy to look back and be an armchair quarterback and say, well, why did they do this or why did they do that? Again, nobody ever expected that there would be a sniper, an assassin on a building waiting for Charlie Kirk. Kirk supposedly did not raise any specific security concerns about that particular date. Dr. James Orr was a guest on the Charlie Kirk show yesterday. That, by the way, Andrew Kolvet, his longtime assistant and producer, has continued to produce in these days afterwards. But this James Orr said in the episode that Charlie acknowledged the risk of an upcoming trip to the University of Missouri on September 29th. He said, we're putting plans in place for me to go with him to the University of Missouri. That's going to be the tough one. That's where it's riskiest. That's the one that's going to be the most dangerous. I said, well, I hope you've got a lot of good security. Charlie said, yeah, it's all sorted out. Don't worry about it. I mean, they were aware that there needed to be security. You always are. But again, it's not like that anyone can have access to Secret Service. It's easy to look back and see now what should have been done, and maybe it'll save someone in the future because there'll be some people will look at these outdoor events quite differently going forward. According to a Quinnipiac University national poll of registered voters that was released yesterday, 93% of Democrats, 84% of independents, and 60% of Republicans said the nation is in a political crisis. The Kirk assassination lays bare raw bipartisan concerns about where the country is headed, the polling analyst Tim Mallory said of the poll results. So here's some of the results. 71% of voters think politically motivated violence in the U.S. today is a very serious problem. 22% think it's a somewhat serious problem. 3% think it's not serious, and 1% not a problem at all. This is a jump from Quinnipiac's June 26 poll, when 54% thought politically motivated violence was a problem then. So it went from 54 to 71% as a result of Charlie Kirk's death. Nearly 6 in 10 voters, 58%, think it will not be possible to lower the temperature on political rhetoric and speech in the U.S., while 34% think it will be possible. Let's hope we can. Let's hope we can lower it. I mean, God help us if we can't. Over half, 54% of the voters, believe the U.S. will see increased political violence over the next few years. That's a sad data point. Another 27% said they think it will stay about the same. A 53% majority also said they're pessimistic about freedom of speech being protected in the U.S. Surprisingly, a 53% majority also believe the current system of democracy is not working. That's even sadder than any of this data, folks. When we lose faith in our country and in our system of government, then we have problems. The vast majority, 82%, said the way people discuss politics is contributing to the violence. And look, we all know that. This survey was taken September 18th through the 21st with 1,276 registered voters. You know, I get so tired of reading about and having to talk about the whole trans movement. And you sit back and you see what some of these young girls are having to deal with in school sports. And you just really feel for them because the adults in the room aren't doing anything about it. There's a growing backlash that is mounting in Southern California, of all places, as at least 8 high school volleyball teams have now forfeited matches rather than take the court against a team that includes a well-known transgender athlete. And the adults at the school that is letting this young man play on the girls' team is doing nothing. They're allowing him to play. We've all heard about him. We've talked about it on the show many times. A.B. Hernandez. That's his name. He plays for Jurupa Valley High School, which is part of the Jurupa Unified School District near Riverside, California. The latest forfeit came from Patriot High School, marking the first intra-district forfeit over this controversy. In a statement, the district confirmed the September 26 match was forfeited, but offered no further comment on what the dispute's all about. Well, it's about this young man suiting up like a young girl playing volleyball. Parents don't want their daughters out there that could potentially get hurt. We've had some get hurt already. Now, this follows a string of forfeits that happened earlier this month at the Freeway Games tournament in California, where Aquinas, Yaquepa, and San Dimas high schools all refused to compete against Jurupa Valley because of this young man. 4 other high schools, Riverside Poly, Rim of the World, Orange Vista, and A.B. Miller, also previously forfeited matches. These young girls can't even play their volleyball matches because of this selfish young boy and the parents and the school that allows him to do this. Now, of course, the issue is escalated to the courts. 3 of Hernandez's current and former teammates have filed a lawsuit against the school district. Good for them. They shouldn't have to do it, but good for them for doing it. Also, the California Interscholastic Federation and the State Department of Education claiming they were forced into a hostile environment for objecting to sharing a team and locker room with a transgender biological male. The plaintiffs, 2 current seniors and a recent graduate, say their religious beliefs were disregarded and that school officials attempted to silence their concerns. One family, practicing Catholics, says that gender is a fixed characteristic defined by God. Amen. They're right. Another, a practicing Muslim family, argues Islamic teachings prohibit the exposure of a girl's body or hair to males, regardless of gender identity. Again, this young girl having to suffer because of this insensitive young man. Governor Gavin Newsom's office has pushed responsibility onto the CIF and state legislature, noting that the transgender participation policy was passed into law in 2013 under then Governor Jerry Brown. Well, Governor, step up. You claim to want to be a national leader? Be a national leader. Now, the school district says that it's bound by state law and cannot ignore or rewrite the rules. But critics say state policies are failing to protect girls' privacy, their safety, and fairness in sports. This is a common sense issue. I don't care what the state law says. Common sense would tell you to make some kind of accommodations. You can't let this young man just run loose in the girls' locker room. The California Department of Education declined to comment on the lawsuit. The CIF has not responded to requests by the New York Post either. Nobody wants to talk about it. This controversy, of course, is fueling national debates over transgender athletes in women's sports, whether parental and religious rights are being sacrificed in the process. Yes, they are. This is just another example of the craziness that our country is enduring right now. Also from the New York Post, ever heard of a quiet time? A quiet time fee in a restaurant? Now, you know, I love these types of topics. We've talked often about tipping and just how much you should tip and when you shouldn't tip. This probably takes the cake, though. One frustrated customer claimed that they were charged a quiet time surcharge at a restaurant on their bill It was added before the tip because the restaurant they dined at was pretty much empty. They were the only customers there. The user shared this on Reddit and said that they had decided to check out a local restaurant for the first time, which seemed to be a quiet place to dine. What seemed like a good thing quickly went south, though, they said. They explained at the end of the meal, the check, the bill, there was an extra 20% pre-tip charge labeled quiet time surcharge. The diner assumed it was an error, asked the server what it meant. The server apparently looked very sheepish before explaining. And according to the Reddit post, the server said something along the lines of, management says when it's not busy, you're basically getting the place to yourself. It's kind of like flying private instead of commercial. Now, let that sink in. The customer was astounded. You probably would be too. I know I would be. The diner said, I just wanted dinner. They wrote in the post, we had to laugh, but also, are you kidding me? I'm not chartering a restaurant. If anything, it's less service work when the place is empty. Now, many people in the comments agreed that this greedy situation was ridiculous. One person wrote, all charges are not advertised or illegal and others can be removed. I would refuse to pay the bill until it was removed and get a receipt and check the charge online. Another said, that's a new one. Typically, restaurants offer discounts to get people to come in during the quiet time or certain weekdays. Charging more because the restaurant is empty is just crazy and seems illegal. If you weren't warned ahead of time, I have no idea how this could be legal. And the comments went on, as you can imagine. One said, well, if I found out it were my private restaurant for quiet time, I guess I'd take off my shirt and shoes and stay a while. Unfortunately, this diner was not the first one to get hit with a bizarre added fee. There were other people chiming in, telling their stories. One saying that while on vacation in Spain, a man, he was charged $3 for an extra glass of ice. You know, ice is a big thing in Europe. When you go here, you automatically get ice water. In Europe, you have to ask for ice wherever you are. Another diner posted saying that from a receipt from a restaurant that charged its guests a mandatory living wage fee. So they're bumping up what you have to pay for your own dining staff. In France, a restaurateur was ripped online for announcing a new fine on dining parties whose number of members did not match their original booking. I mean, again, this stuff is just crazy. It's just crazy. But not as crazy as what just happened in Dearborn, Michigan. Their first city council meeting since a clash with a local Christian minister went viral after a heated exchange over a controversial honorary street sign naming Mayor Abdullah Hamoun declined to apologize for his saying the minister was not welcome here and that he should launch a parade when he left town. Ted Barham, the same Christian minister, opened his remarks at this week's meeting by repeating the words that went viral at the previous one on September the 9th. Barham said, the mayor, in a way, cursed me, as was seen around the world, and I would like to repeat what I said that day to you, Mr. Mayor. God bless you. That's all he said before. God bless you. Barham said he had no plans to file a lawsuit despite pressure from supporters. He said, people have been saying I should do that all over the world. I have no intention of doing that. Instead, he urged the council to consider his larger message. Bless those who curse you, love your haters. And I would say that in regard to Hezbollah as well. I would say that in regard to Mr. Siblani, and I would say to Israel too, love your haters. He then made a new appeal. Again, telling the mayor that God loves him and God bless you. Others took the microphone to press the council more directly. Anthony Deegan told the council, we love you with the love of Christ. We want the blessings of God to be in your life. It's not a matter of us versus them. But he then asked pointedly, do you definitively, unequivocally, by name, denounce Hamas and Hezbollah, or do you support them? It got a little bit tricky there. Shane Reif of Garden City said he was shocked to learn that Mayor Hamoud had appeared to rally where Arab American news publisher Osama Siblani praised Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah as a hero. But he doesn't want the guy to say God bless you in the city council chambers. Pastor Jeff Davis of Dearborn Evangelical Covenant Church also voiced support for Barham, stressing his long service in the city. Many others rallied around this pastor, saying that he was doing what pastors do, reminding everyone about the love of Christ. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Okay, I have a question for you. How many of you have been back to a Cracker Barrel since they tried to redo their branding with the woke message, with the woke logo? Anybody been back? Honestly, I haven't, but I really haven't consciously stayed away because of that. I just kind of decided that back when this whole thing was being debated, I just decided, well, maybe this is not a restaurant I want to frequent. Well, here's a lesson in what happens when a beloved Southern brand like Cracker Barrel forgets who its customers are. Cracker Barrel, the Southern dining, the place with the rocking chairs on the porch, Uncle Herschel's breakfast, and all their good down-home charm just went from the fastest growing breakfast chain in America all the way to last place because of a woke logo fiasco that turned off their core base, conservative Republican diners. According to Consumer Edge, sales growth for Cracker Barrel plunged 8% between August and early September. Meanwhile, Waffle House, which hasn't messed with its identity, enjoyed a little bump and now sits at the top of the breakfast pack. Cracker Barrel, once number one, is now dead last. Let that sink in. Tied with Denny's and even trailing behind IHOP. Even more telling, their share of Republican diners dropped by about half a percentage point compared to last year. That might not sound like much, but for Cracker Barrel, it's devastating because the company depends on GOP customers, 30% more than competitors like Chili's, Applebee's, or IHOP. In other words, they can't afford to alienate their base, and they have. Why do these companies make these types of decisions? I would assume that the people who were on those meetings talking about the rebranding were fairly smart people to get there. But they were so out of touch, just like Budweiser was when they hired that goofy-looking trans guy to do their commercials that cost them millions, if not billions of dollars. I don't know how you recover from something like that. And shame on Cracker Barrel because they had the hindsight to see what this had done to Budweiser and other brands, and they did it anyway. So what set this off? The company, of course, unveiled the new logo just over a month ago. It erased their iconic farmer, Uncle Herschel. They also started repainting some restaurants with a brighter, sterile look and taking away the knickknacks that gave the charm to Cracker Barrels. I mean, you went in, and while you're waiting on your meal, you're kind of looking around the room at what's on the walls, seeing things that in some cases you don't even know what they are. And you take a picture and you Google it to try to figure out what it is. I never, of course, saw one of the new remodeled stores that was painted bright, had a sterile look. But customers said that it felt more like a hospital than Grandma's Kitchen. The backlash, of course, was immediate. Even President Trump weighed in on True Social, urging the company to admit the mistake, go back to the old logo, and make Cracker Barrel a winner again. Well, management did backtrack. They announced on August 26th that Uncle Herschel was there to stay, but the damage is already done. Their stock dropped over $100 million in valuation as investors panicked about the boycott. $100 million over an idiotic decision to begin with. Again, I don't know who made the decision. I guess their woke CEO. As far as I know, she still has a job. She should have been fired immediately. I mean, because this isn't just about a logo. It's about what happens when companies chase the approval of the elites instead of listening to the people who actually sit at their tables every morning, the people who go spend their hard-earned money to have a nice breakfast in a place that's comfortable to them. Cracker Barrel's mistake is the same mistake, again, that Bud Light made, forgetting who your customers are. You can't erase tradition and expect folks to keep showing up. It's just that simple. And while they also lost some Democrats and independents in the process, it's clear who felt the sting the most, the conservative families who made Cracker Barrel successful in the first place. I mean, the lesson here is pretty simple. Brands that stay true to their roots thrive. Waffle House didn't change a thing, and they're growing now. They're taking the top spot. Cracker Barrel tried to, quote, modernize by scrubbing its identity, and now they're paying the price and probably will not recover back to where they were prior to this. Will they recover? I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Text me, email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY. They'll need more than a logo reversal. They're going to need to rebuild trust with the very people who made them great. And like President Trump said, this could be an opportunity if they listen to their customers this time. I don't know that they're capable of doing that, though. We'll see, I guess. I mean, what do you think? Should Cracker Barrel have another chance? Or are you sticking with Waffle House or IHOP? Or have you passed them up? Or are you just saying, no more, I'm gone, I'm out of here? You had one chance, you blew it. I don't know. Will I go back? Don't know if I will. I was kind of upset with them before they made this stupid decision anyway. Because, you know why? Because they stopped serving omelets. My favorite meal was a cheddar cheese and bacon omelet. Now, if you've got eggs in the house, what's hard about making an omelet? I go in one day, and this was months ago, because they stopped this a while back. I go in one day to get my normal omelet, and sorry, we don't have omelets. We don't sell omelets. I said, well, you got eggs here. You know, can't you make me an omelet? No, sir. The only way we can do the eggs is fry them or scramble them. I mean, I was just blown away. Why would you take an omelet off of your menu? I mean, that was one of my favorite things. My only things, the only thing I ever ordered. I mean, that's why I would go to Cracker Barrel, because they had great omelets. They took them off the menu. So, will I go back? I may go to a Cracker Barrel if I'm traveling somewhere, and I mean, they're at every other exit, so they're convenient. But as far as one around locally, no, I don't go there because they don't have omelets. Can anybody tell me, maybe there's some people in the restaurant business out there who listen, can anyone tell me why you would take an omelet off of your breakfast menu? Again, I'd understand it if you weren't a breakfast restaurant or if you didn't have eggs. But if you have eggs, why can't you make an omelet? Anybody tell me? Anybody tell me why Cracker Barrel would take omelets off of your menu? Am I obsessing here? Does it matter? Oh, that's it for today's show. Tara's up next, followed by Mike Gallagher, Bill Frady, Charlie James. I'm back again tomorrow at 5 a.m. for more Sunrise Carolina and your first cup of coffee. Until then, remember, folks, God's got this. He's still in control. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.